So next up, we're going to talk about energy packets and what do we mean by energy packets. What I mean by them is the disturbances we feel inside that can trigger different things, of course. They can trigger a person's desire to have a drink and stuff those feelings down. They can trigger a desire for drugs or mood alteration in any way, shape or form. And so these are the unpleasant feelings that get triggered by a memory surfacing. It could be watching a TV program, reading a book, someone saying something, a look on a face, or going past where an accident occurred. Being re-traumatized by the event brings up a very unpleasant disturbance, usually some form of anxiety. So if you think of that like an energy packet, let's say the anxiety surfaces, it starts to come up, and what does a person do? Well, they may take a cigarette and try and pack that stuff down, or they may take a drink and try and drown that, or take a drug and mood alter it, or have some behavior that is again designed to try and alter the way they feel about this. So a lot of people end up with a lot of anxiety as a result of that. But I'm calling them energy packets because what we do over time, if we continue to do this stuffing, we're building up an enormous reservoir of energy inside us, literally. And it's like we keep compressing this stuff or compartmentalizing it. It's got to go somewhere, and it eats away on the inside because it's getting repressed rather than expressed. I've actually got an acronym on my board which says it's AGE, which means abuse imprisons, grief releases, and expression heals. It creates a lot of addictions. It creates a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, fears, phobias, obsessions, compulsions. I've mentioned those, and you look at what they all really mean, and they end up meaning self-sabotage of some form. And what is our goal? Our goal with this, at the end of this session, at the end of this course, what I'm hoping is that you will be able to move these things, that you will be able to go to a place of being an adversary situation into an advocacy situation. That's what I would like, to clear any self-sabotaging beliefs, thoughts, or actions, of course. To live 24/7 with a best friend. We have to remember you are the world's leading expert on yourself, and we can hopefully be able to get you to the point where you can, in fact, end up with what I would call that independent expert observer part of yourself. Whenever you have any question about what you should do, that you will be able to call upon that part that knows everything there is to know, and that would allow you to live according to your wisdom and not according to old stuck patterns of belief or behavior. So we would almost like to form internally a committee of those people you most admire. I could give you some examples. If I think of an internal committee that I would want around me, it would be people like Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, a dear friend of mine who I always thought was like a very wise surrogate father. So it's almost like ending up with an internal round table. Some people may say, if they're religious, what would Jesus do? What would love do? But this is more about clearing these things that keep you locked into self-sabotaging behaviors and thoughts, negative core beliefs. And our role is to work on cleaning and clearing them, to dissipating, to getting rid of this energy that gets stuck inside. Because one of the unpleasant things that can happen is someone may stuff a lot of hurt and anger and grief because it's unsafe to let it go. But along can come a fairly minor situation, and it's like it gets released and poured out of them, and the way they react is way out of proportion to what may have just happened, and we're wondering, where did that come from? What is going on? So that's what I mean about energy packets. It's the energy that has been stuffed as a result, usually of unpleasant incidents, belief systems that don't work for us, repression of the self, repression of memories, repression of hurt, and our role is to try and release that safely, gently, lovingly, so that it never has to come back and haunt you or stop you from becoming the authentic person you are.